This is Populations and Resources, Lesson 3.4, Activity 2, Part 3. So you should have just written on your evidence cards what claims these either go for or against. So we're going to talk about that now. I just want to give you a warning. This video is pretty much it's one of the most important videos because everything is going to come together right now. So I'm going to be saying a little bit and just try to follow along as best as you can. And if you, what we kind of talk about now is basically what you're going to use to write about in the next activity. So make sure you're trying to really focus. Okay, so let's look at evidence card E. So evidence card E is showing that the population was stable and then started to increase around 2000. So this goes with claim 1, and claim 1 is that the algae population changed. But did it change in a way that would have caused the moon jelly population to increase? So if we look at our food web, this evidence card E is saying that the algae population increased. So if the algae population increases, that means that the zooplankton have more energy storage molecules. So if the zooplankton have more energy storage molecules, that means that they'll reproduce more and that their bursts will increase. So now their bursts are greater than their deaths and their population increases. And then we also know that if their population increases, that means there's more energy storage molecules for the moon jellies. So the moon jellies will have more energy storage molecules, they'll reproduce more, and their bursts will increase. So now their bursts are greater than their deaths and their population increases. So evidence card E supports claim 1. It goes with claim 1 that the algae changed in a way to cause the moon jelly population to increase. So if you don't have that written on that card, you want to write that on that card, because evidence card E is helping explain our phenomenon of why the moon jelly population increased. So now let's look at evidence card F. So evidence card F shows that the population of the walleye pollock was stable and then started to decrease around 2000. So let's look at claim 2. The population of the walleye pollock changed, so it would be connected to claim 2, but did it change in a way to cause the moon jelly population to increase? So let's look at the food web. So evidence card F is saying that the walleye pollock population decreased. So if the walleye pollock population decreases, that means they need less energy storage molecules, so they're eating less zooplankton. So if they're eating less zooplankton, that means that the zooplankton deaths are decreasing. So there'll be more zooplankton. So if there's more zooplankton, this is just directly what we talked about before. When there's more zooplankton, there's more energy storage molecules for the moon jellies. So the moon jellies will eat more zooplankton, they will reproduce more, and their bursts become greater than their deaths, and then the moon jelly population increases. So evidence card F also supports, well, not also, it supports claim 2 and can explain why the moon jelly population increases, just like evidence card E did for claim 1. So if you don't have this or understand this, check out your evidence cards and make some changes if necessary. So now if we look at evidence card G, the population of the orca stayed stable. So this connects to claim 3 that says that the size of the orca population changed. This is directly in conflict with this statement, this claim. The orca population did not change, so the evidence refutes or goes against claim 3. So claim 3 can be eliminated. So we have evidence to support claim 1, and we have evidence to support claim 2. And now, again, evidence for claim 3 goes against it, so we get rid of claim 3. So now we're only looking at claim 1 and claim 2. So what we need to do now is we need to go back to our evidence cards from lesson 2.7 activity 3. So we have 2 evidence cards from zooplankton and 2 evidence cards for leatherback sea turtles. So when you did this activity, if you go back to Notability PR lesson 2.7 activity 3, you should see that you have put a star next to the cards that you thought were the strongest evidence. And so what we concluded was that evidence card A was the strongest for zooplankton, and that evidence card C was the strongest for the sea turtles. So let's see how these connect to the claims. So we'll look at evidence card A. So evidence card A said that the zooplankton population started to increase around 2000. So if we look back at this, we saw both for the algae population changing. So we know the algae population increased. And when this increases, that means there's more energy storage molecules for the zooplankton. And that means the zooplankton will increase. So both evidence card A, that the zooplankton increased, and evidence card E, that the algae increased, both go together, because we know when the algae increases, that means the zooplankton will increase, and that can explain why the moon jellies would increase. So those two cards would go together. The evidence card A would also support claim 1. Now if we look at evidence card A in reference to claim 2, we know that when the evidence card F said that the walleye pollock population decreased. So when this decreases, they're eating less of the zooplankton, and when they're eating less of the zooplankton, that means that the zooplankton population will now increase. So evidence card F is saying this decreases, evidence card A is saying that this increases, and so those together are both evidence that help explain why the moon jelly population increased. So evidence card A can tie to both claim 1 and claim 2. So now let's look at evidence card C. So some of you might be saying that this is not good evidence because it doesn't represent the whole as possible. So that is completely valid. If we did want to use it as evidence, it says that the leatherback sea turtles started to decrease. So is that even possible? Well, if this decreases, that means that they're eating less moon jellies, there's less moon jelly deaths, that means the births are now greater than the deaths, and so that can increase. So you could use this, but that doesn't really connect to any of these claims. So it doesn't support any of these claims, and it's pretty reasonable to think that this is not a good representation of the whole. So like this one spread out, there's only 3 samples collected, sample collection locations here, and then when we're talking about these ones, these are way more spread out where they have more collection locations. So I think it'd be fair to not use evidence card C. So, and what you're going to be doing from here on out, you're going to be wanting to use evidence card A. So you might put a big star on this, or it signify you want to use this evidence card, because we saw that evidence card A ties into claim 1 and claim 2. And then I would also be noting evidence card E and F. So you'll want to use those 3 cards when you're writing your written explanation. So again, as a review, if the size of the algae increases, which is what evidence card A tells us, there is more energy storage molecules for the zooplankton. When there's more energy storage molecules for the zooplankton, they will reproduce more. When they reproduce more, their births will increase and now become greater than their deaths, so their population will increase. If their population increases, that means that there's more energy storage molecules for the moon jellies. When the moon jellies have more energy storage molecules, they reproduce more, and their births will become greater than their deaths, and their population will increase. So that's how evidence card A and, why am I forgetting, E go with claim 1. Now for claim 2, evidence card F says that the walleye pollock population decreases. When the walleye pollock population decreases, that means that they are eating less zooplankton, because they don't need to eat as many, they don't need as many energy storage molecules to survive because there's not as many of them. So they eat less zooplankton, which means that the zooplankton deaths will decrease. If there's less zooplankton deaths, that means that there's more births than deaths, and so the zooplankton population increases. Now, again, evidence card A showed us that the zooplankton population did increase, along with the walleye population in evidence card F decreasing. So if this population increases, that means that there is more energy storage molecules for the moon jellies. When the moon jellies have more energy storage molecules, they reproduce more. And now they have more births than deaths, and their population increases. So make sure you have noted on your evidence 2 pieces of evidence from 2.7 activity 3 and 3.4 activity 2, which cards you want to use in the next activity when you're going to write your final explanation. Make sure you've submitted 3.4 activity 2 into Canvas, and that is it.